And that fearing nothing, I feel like there's something about just going towards the thing you're afraid of, going towards not knowing what you're doing next, not knowing how to figure it out, going towards the asking for help because there's something in there to kind of overcome, and the overcoming part is so transformative.
Welcome to Permission the Podcast. I'm Dr. T, and this is my sister,
Silvana, and we are two regular people talking about spirituality in our daily lives.
Each week, we're inviting you to the internal conversation. So let's get started.
With your permission.
And we're back.
With Permission the Podcast.
This week, we are going to be talking about the permission to not have it all figured out. That's
it. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
I grant you the permission.
To speak first? Okay. So, you know how I'm trying to think when I was that person that I needed it all figured out. And I think it was when I moved out, when I was living in Boston when I was 18, and I needed to have it all figured out because I needed to pay bills and I had a plan, right? My plan was I'm going to take a year off from college and I'm going to pay for my first year in cash, right? So I took a year off because I wanted to be in state in Boston instead of paying out of state, which to me was like robbery. So I had two jobs, also paying rent, bills. I was 18. And so also there was going out at times. So I had to have, for me to make it through my first year of college, I had to have it all planned out and all figured out. And so I was like intense with my planning, intense with my saving. And, I needed to have it because I was on my own. Mind you, I could have done the phone call, save me, mom and dad, and I never did.
I mean, how would they have?
Financially, if I needed it, I would have been like, hey, sell one of your kidneys and send me some money. Because I don't know, like they had so much on their plate already, right? Because we were 6 and it was a lot.
I
and
don't
we didn't
see them having anything to give you.
Right. So so I needed, for that reason, I knew like, okay, if you want to make this happen, you need to pay for your school. You need to have your shit together and plan it properly. And that meant getting up, doing 2 jobs, running from one job to the next. And, I don't know where I had time to go out at night at times, but I did. I mean, I was young. And then I would do it again every morning. And so, and then I had a teaching job in the morning. So I was teaching the kitchen crew I used to work at California Pizza Kitchen, CPK.
I still love that place.
Still love some of the salads and whatever.
Barbecue chicken salad.
Okay. So every time I see a CPK, I'm like,
I know, me too. They're not really anywhere. Okay.
So anyway, so I was given, to teach the back of the house, which is the kitchen, to teach them English as a second language. So I was coming in. Those guys would come in. I think we started either at 5 or 5:30. So I would teach them before their shift, and their shifts was early. So I think we were either meeting at 5:30 or 6 a.m., but it was before their shift. And so I was doing that. Now, it wasn't every day, but I was also doing that, and it was mostly in the weekends. So, yeah. So I had that early morning, and I would do 2 shifts, one there, sometimes a double there, or I would go to the other job, which was in Faneuil Hall. Salty dog. And then I was also dancing with the Peruvian folklore group. I don't know where I was spending time, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And so my savings, I was on point. Like by the time I rolled up to Northeastern, which I started college there, I paid a check. I just wrote a check for cash, man. There you go. Boom.
Rolling. You were just rolling.
Yeah. and supporting myself. And then, like, you think about the city is expensive. Boston wasn't cheap, you know?
Yeah.
I was making it happen, but I needed that. I needed that totally
On point.
not be an 18-year-old that, that didn't know what's up.
I've been wondering this. Do you feel like you grew up too fast?
I think I had an awesome childhood, but I did have responsibilities, right?
That's
Like
not
I was cooking, I was cooking for 6 people. I was doing a lot of things that most 18-year-olds now are not doing. Or maybe they are, just not in my house. My boys are not cooking for the rest of the family, right?
Do you feel some sort of way about that?
I kind of no, because I still live my life and I like the fact that I know how to cook and I enjoy cooking. So I do love cooking.
No, I mean for them as
You mean
like a life skill that they don't have.
they know how to make pasta. They know how to boil water. They know how to make eggs. They know like essentials, little things. Oh, they've cooked chicken before, so they they're not gonna starve, but they're not, they're not
But
chefs.
you don't feel some sort of way about it.
No, I mean it's if they had interest in it, I would absolutely help them. I think Aiden at one point he would because he loves food and he loves seasoning stuff. So he will always come while I'm seasoning stuff. He always was curious about that and he wanted to actually put the condiments in. So, yeah.
Right? But it's not out of necessity.
No, and I'm not forcing them to do chores like that. No.
Do you feel like you were forced?
Forced
Yeah.
with, and if you didn't do it, well, you would stay inside the house. I'm like, if you want to leave the house to go to the park, to meet with your friends, if you wanted to have any social life, there was a list of things you had to do before you can step out of the house. I tried that with the boys. Like, you can't go, but then that didn't work out. Okay, we're staying. So yeah.
It's so
And I
fascinating.
and I don't know if it's a boy versus girl things. I don't know.
When did you feel like you had it all figured out?
Financially or
Ever?
ever.
With anything?
I kind of always felt like even when we were in Peru, like I always I'm ahead of the curve. I used to feel like okay, like I can cook, I can do this, and then people would always come for advice to me. So I kind of felt like, oh, I kind of have it figured out. But yet, there's stuff. Of course, you never have it all figured out.
I was just thinking that. Like, I don't know if I felt that. I mean, there are times when I think, yeah, I'm on the right track or I'm in a good place, but having it all figured out, I don't know. That sounds like too high, too tall an order or something.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's also necessity. Right? Necessity makes you do certain things. Like you don't think about certain things, and then you have kids, and then you're like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like if you're put in the position where you have to do something, then
You
you come
just do
through.
it.
You just do it. And so, do you need to have it all figured out and planned and make it go in your head over and over? Like I have to do this, I have to do. No, but I don't know. But some people need that as structure too.
Yeah. I mean, we talked last episode about planning, right?
Yeah. My planning versus your planning.
It's just like my vacationing versus your vacation.
Oh yeah,
We don't do vacation. My vacation does not look anything like your vacation.
no, but at times it does. Like I've been places where I just go, and normally is when I've already been there a couple of times. When I go to, for instance, I've been to Italy many times. If I go to Italy, I just go to chill. Like I'm not trying to hit every monument, and no, I just walk around, enjoy the gelatos. Yeah, you know. I don't because I've already been there so many times. But when I went to Egypt and you were like, no, I'm not doing that. It was when I go to a country for the first time, I'm like, okay, am I going to come back? That's one. And so I try to cram in as much as I can in one trip. And yes, it was a lot, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And then am I going to go back? Yes, probably 2027 for the huge eclipse happening. And it's going to be right there. So 2027, maybe I'll go back. Maybe no, I want to. And so if I knew that then that I would go back, then I probably would have done a little less.
So when you say vacation and chill, I feel like you don't do that.
Chill and vacation? Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Like if I go to, okay, let's go to Peru. Here we go to Peru. Now when we went with the whole family because the kids then, now when I went with Brendan and Aiden.
Well,
with my
when
boys.
we went as a family, because we went as a family, we
Yeah, that
went
was
like we
crazy.
weren't ever going back to Peru for the rest of our lives. This is
Yeah.
the only trip that we're doing for the rest of our lives. What?
Yeah, I know. But everybody wanted to see different things. But whatever. If I was just me, then I wouldn't have done it that way. That's all.
Okay, back to the planning. Right.
Having it all figured out.
I feel good about a good plan. And that doesn't mean that I can't be flexible. I can be flexible and I like a good plan. Do you plan like ahead of time? You know this before I ask you what I'm going to ask you that I just asked you?
You just lost me. I feel like a dog chasing the tail on you. Before I asked you what I was going to ask you. Okay.
My brother, Carlos.
No. What is your 5-year? Oh my God. He sat you down. He sat me down.
Sit me down.
What is your 5-year plan? And I'm like, what?
And your 10-year plan. And I'm surprised he didn't go 20-year plan.
Yeah, he did have that conversation with me. We had the 5-year plan. And I'm trying to think when I was still in college, I think.
I don't even know what I said.
And I was like, well, I would like to be working somewhere, I didn't want to, like I was through college, I was still waitressing and I was still doing, I used to work the bar area and stuff. So I wanted to be done with that and just have work something career related. And so that was my plan. But I think Carlos wanted way more. Like, where do you see yourself? How are you going to save for this? Like he was like, whoa. And I feel like I had that sort of plan, but it wasn't like a 5-year plan. It was more like a year plan because I knew I wanted to pay for college in Boston. Like I had a real plan, After that, I don't think I've ever had such a structured plan because I, just haven't, because I also been able to lean on other people. And no.
So he asked me my 5 and 10-year plan. Like he asked probably everyone.
In the family? Yeah, probably. I know he did with me.
He did with our cousin.
Which cousin?
Anna.
We have so many cousins.
Anna.
Okay, well, okay.
So I'm sure he also asked all of our cousins.
That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility.
Okay, so I don't remember whatever I said. I mean, I'm sure I had a plan because here we are.
And also he made sure he had a spreadsheet. Did he do a spreadsheet with you?
No.
Oh yeah, we had a spreadsheet.
What was the spreadsheet?
It was like your planning and budget and all kinds of things.
Oh yeah, he helped me with that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He's so great.
I know. Because also he got me thinking about like, oh, yeah, I do need to think about the future.
Yeah. You do. And you need a planner.
And no, I don't use chat that way. But I probably will. I'm having a closer relationship with chat. GDP.
Oh my God. Chat's my homeboy.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I named Chad the other day and I already forgot his name.
Stop it.
Her name, actually. It's a woman. I gave her a, hold on, I'm going to look for it. I'm sorry. I'm looking for it. Okay. What I named
She's
her.
listening.
Yeah. Maybe I should ask her what I named her. Anyway, it'll come up.
How do you not know?
I know I named her, but I forgot because I was using Egyptian Arabic words to name her.
Why?
Why not?
Why 4? I mean, clearly unhelpful. You don't know her name.
Yeah, well, she's gonna tell me when she wants. Okay. I think it was Amina.
Okay. So why did you bring up chat?
Because you were talking about a planner and you know, people do planning with ChatGTP and all kinds of other things, but we're not gonna, that's a different episode.
Maybe I should talk to chat more about planning.
Oh, I thought you did. No?
I ask him all my financial questions, yes.
Okay. So that is a little bit of planning.
Yeah,
Do
it
you
is.
ask him to keep a calendar for you and remind you of stuff? No.
Can he do that?
I don't know. I can do anything, I think.
Anything you can do.
Because you can tell Chad, can you pretend you're my personal calendar? Right? And then you're my manager. Yeah.
So I don't know what I said to Banky, Carlos. I don't know what I said to him, but I always like to think about a rough trajectory of what I'm putting in my future, 5 years, 10 years. Although now thinking in terms of 5 and 10 years seems so far away. Like that time frame is so long.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like too long?
And so I don't plan that way anymore. I'm more like, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Okay, not
That's
as
why
bad as
you
that.
need an agenda.
Okay, not as bad as that, but like I plan, like I'm conscious about that I do need a plan and I do need certain things. But I'm giving myself permission to not need to have it all planned out because I
to
feel
not
like
have it all figured out. Okay.
Right. And in a way, it's like because when you're focusing on like, okay, this is the plan, this is a plan, and then you're like, then you leave stuff out that your abundance is bringing to you. You know, I feel like you may close doors when you're so stuck in just one thing.
If you're
I'm just saying.
stuck, if it's like a fixated thing, sure. If you're like to one thing, I don't know. I feel like all my plans are rough plans.
Right. So you're giving yourself the flexibility to, you know, navigate and change course if need
pivot.
Pivot is the name of her business.
Psychological services. Okay, so I don't know if I've ever thought I've got it all figured out. I know that I have had moments of certainty, like becoming a psychologist and now writing. It's so fascinating. I have these new identities. I'm a writer. I'm a podcaster. I'm a psychologist. The psychologist piece is yeah. But the psychologist piece has been there, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, I am a podcaster too, and an artist, and I don't know, and a yogi.
I didn't think I would. I don't know if I thought I would become a writer. So with this whole trajectory of planning, having it figured out, or goals, or setting things, I don't know if that was something I necessarily thought about before I just started writing. And I just started writing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It just happened upon that.
But now that you are a writer, do you have like set, you know, goals or I don't know? Do you have it all figured out?
No. I do not have it all figured out. And at the same time, I have goals that I want with it. So at the current moment, I'm working on a launch for a memoir. I'm writing a second memoir. I'm writing a sci-fi trilogy, the first, but I'm laying out the theoretical, the conceptual groundwork for all three now. And I'm working on collabing on a play. The sci-fi novels are also collabs, but they're rough kind of plans, right? I think the trilogy, I'm aiming for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
The memoir, the second memoir at the end of next year. The play early next year or later this year.
So you have, I mean, okay, maybe the whole sense of all figured out. okay, you don't need to, but you have some stuff that you figured out.
Well,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I did have a problem with asking for help.
Mm,
I did have
yeah.
a problem with asking for help because I had this idea that I had to do it all alone. And then the more I listened to very, very, very successful people, the more it became introduced that there's no possible way to do it alone. Like a successful person cannot be successful alone.
Because you can be great at everything. You need people that are supporting you that are great at other stuff.
Exactly.
And like you need a team. Yeah.
A whole team, or you're alone, working alone and not that successful. Because if you have if you have a practice or an organization and it's just you, then that's, I mean, how successful can it be? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there that has broken all of the rules.
Sure.
Okay.
But more common is if you're successful,
You're collaborating. Yeah.
you need more minds together. You need more workforce. You need, you know, someone to schedule your appointments because you're too busy to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone to post on your Instagram.
Yeah. So I started looking at what I need to focus on to start working with other people, asking for help, and I started collaborations that way. That's why I'm in different writing projects. If I was not working with other people, wouldn't be doing this many writing projects, right? Have you ever had a problem asking for help?
Yes. And I'm trying to think when I got over it. And it's probably not being that long ago.
No, for me, it was for sure not long ago.
Yeah, like probably it's been like a year or a year
Yeah,
and a
me
half.
too.
Because it was, for me, that started with waitressing actually. When I would waitress, I would be, by the time I tell you, can you get this? Can you get that? I just gone and did it myself. And that became the trying to explain people what to do, and rather than me taking a second to do it. And so it became like, you know what, I'm just going to do it by myself. I'm not going to bother asking. And that grew to be more and more and more. And then when I started my first job, professional job, then I was carrying that. By the time I tell you, explain you what this account is doing, and then I should have just been able to do it on my own. But I didn't think of, I'm explaining this to you now, but next time I need help, I don't have to explain it. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I would just do it on my own, and that just kept growing and growing. But I think also that could come from mom and dad. You know, like my mom. Like if you help, you have to do it the right way. You can't just do it.
It's not the right way. It's mom's way.
Right. So I think that has also something to do with it, because I'm like, I'm going to explain it to you, but you're going to do it differently.
Yes, because I'm a different person.
And it's not going to be to my standards, you know. And that's going to show on my customers or whatever. And so I think I got over that. I'm over that. I'm so over that.
So I started last year. Maybe this year, last year. No, I started last year. Last year, I decided, okay, you know, when you hear enough successful people saying the same thing, and I think, okay, they must be onto something. Obviously. Like, what?
Let's see. They have their own airplane. Yeah, maybe I should listen.
They're not driving their own planes. So I hear them talking like, if you want to be successful, you have to work with other people. So I hear it, and the more I hear it, the more I'm opening up. I'm opening up to the idea.
And you started even with the podcast, or even with before that, when you started like, oh, I want to collaborate with people. I want to collaborate with people, but not just any people.
No,
You were talking about
that
people
would be
that
silly.
can have the same passion that you do or can see eye to eye. And yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I started looking for a podcast mate.
Yeah. I don't know how we well, I know how we landed, but it's like obviously there was a twist of fate.
No, it was perfectly aligned fate, right?
Yeah.
I started looking at writing with other people. I started looking at who I can network with. And I started with CrossFit people. I started opening up to the idea of, okay, well, what would this look like if I started working with this person or that person? And it opened me up to a lot of opportunities working with our marketing branding person, right? Annalise. Yeah. Oh man. It's perfect when I can just trust the person and I'm like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah.
You can do it. And they asked me, we can do it, but if you want to do it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think our cousin Anna made a comment of, so you don't kind of oversee what she's doing on your whatever account, and socials or LinkedIn or Insta, what blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, because I'm not on it.
And also you do trust her.
Yeah.
Whatever she says, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And you're like, wait, I don't hear resistance. Yeah, you do trust.
And also, I'm looking at the things that I actually want to work on, right? I'm looking at the things that are meaningful to me. This conversation is meaningful to me. I'm coming into it with my own thoughts, ideas, feelings, contemplations. And if the cover of the freaking podcast changes 10 times, it doesn't matter, because what matters is the substance, right? Like that's,
By the way, the cover will change again. But yeah. Yeah, you're right.
If it hasn't already.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like been a gift, a godsend that we're working with Annalise, because it has facilitated a releasing of control that I absolutely needed. Like before, I would have been very detail oriented, dotted I's, crossed T's. Is this, true to what I would say? Or is this the image that, and very focused on the controlling of whatever. But I don't want to have anything to do with all of the amazing work that she does. I don't want anything to do with it.
She's quite amazing.
So like being able to know that I have strengths, and part of it is thinking and talking and writing, and I don't have other strengths. That's it.
That's it. Hey, and you are aware of it, and so can we talk about the people that need to have it all figured out and that will stress about and will impact their day to day?
A lot of it is this experience of anxiety. The experience of, I want to control things that are outside of my control. And oftentimes it's not necessarily termed that way, and it's experienced that way. Like the sensation of, I need to know in order to do the thing that needs to happen, and I need to control it. Very much like what my cousin was referring to.
I was just gonna say her name because you,
like,
because I saw it. I'm like, I have a name just came up. And
Yeah. And this idea of wanting to control things and the having it all figured out, there's a self-soothing to it, right? I know who I am, I know where I'm going, I know what I want and all of these other things. And to some extent we do know those things, like me and you right here. And to some extent there's some space for that to change too, right? Because we're allowing the new things or new factors or new opportunities to come in. So that drive to want it all figured out is really this self-soothing that we do with that experience of anxiety, because the experience of anxiety is connected to the unknown.
unknown and the lack of control of
The
it.
unknown.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's where the magic is, man.
I know.
Like, you know,
So
yeah.
So, you know how even though, like, I started doing things differently, like, even, you brush your teeth with your right hand. I'm like, I'm going to do it with my left hand. Like, just changing the known to a little unknown and just, I don't know. I find it, like, can I go home a different way? I don't know.
I've actually
I'm just trying to
recommended
do
that.
little things because, like, okay, the big things I can, like, something pops up. I'm like, okay, I want to do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go with the flow. But then the everyday stuff, how can I just not make it like,
Yeah, just switch it up.
right? Like, instead of getting out of the bed from this side, I'm going to go from the other side. Silly things like that. Or just squished all the way down to the back of the bed instead of just, I don't know, just trying to switch little things.
I've recommended that to patients before,
Yeah.
where I tell them,
Because
like,
they're,
just change one small thing so that they can understand and recognize their autonomy and choice
yeah,
added to something that is unconscious. So usually when we brush our teeth or do a routine like that, it's just unconscious, right? You do the
right. So
same thing
now,
every
like,
day.
if you switch your hand,
You're
but see,
conscious.
but the thing is, you're so focused on, like, am I doing this right? You're not thinking about anything else. Like, you're like, did I get that baller? And so I think that's great. And then, but then the other thing is that if you do it so many times, you start getting good at it.
Yeah, I know.
So you're rewiring your brain to, like, be able to, like, use both hands.
Okay, so another piece about the unknown, because we walked into that territory, not to bring up who shall not be named.
Right.
I didn't, huh? Joe
Just go
Dispenza.
ahead. Yeah.
Dr. Joe
The
Dispenza.
doctor. I just call him Joe now. I'm like, hey, Joe-san.
Come on, Dr. Joe. So
Yeah.
this past weekend, I went to an ACT retreat. Yes, that still was this past weekend. I had a conversation with someone. Well, a couple someones, because it was at a table. We were having lunch, and the AI conversation came up, and I brought it up.
You
Hey,
pitched it?
I well, no, I inquired. I said,
How do
"Do
you
you
feel about
guys?"
this?
Yeah, do you therapists feel like you're going to be replaced? Right, that's
Oh,
yeah.
where did it go?
And the the guy said, "Well, everyone's replaceable." So that we kind of started that conversation, and there were reviews about it from the sense of, but it's scary. We don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, yeah, isn't that exciting? Like, and I was like coming in really hard with excitement. Like, you got to think about it. Even the people that are making AI have no fucking clue what they're doing. Right.
Or
So,
how they will control it?
well,
The-
how it came to be,
yeah.
right? So then even just that, there's like an unknown on top of an unknown on top of an unknown, and I was like, isn't that exciting? And they were like, sure, but, and I was like, I don't know if we have come to a place like this before where it's so unknown.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's always been something, but this one is
I
like,
don't know.
this
I
one
don't
is,
know.
this one is big.
This feels different. I feel like I chose to be in this time really
Because of
on
it.
purpose. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, we do that. We choose a time because we want to live through it. Yeah, I agree. Now, this is something way off topic,
Yeah, go for
but
it.
I thought I'd bring it up because it's a
Why not?
conversation.
Yeah.
And you were just laughing and exciting and okay. So I came across this, you know how laughter, it's such a amazing energy and it has healing powers. You know how like the people that laugh more, that dance more, they're gonna live longer, blah blah blah. And so I came onto this, what do you call it? They were talking about babies and adults. So a baby would laugh on average 120 times a day and, you know, like truly laugh. And then an average adult, like a true laughter, like a belly laugh, an average, it might be 6 times a day. So you go from 120 to 6, except you're the exception. This is why I'm bringing it up because you laugh so much. And I'm like thinking, she will probably live to 120.
Yeah, I will.
Because she laughs so much. And so this is just an invitation for you people out there to laugh more often. And so when they hear you laughing so hard, they could be like, yo, I need to do this. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, I laugh with my patients too. I think I find it to be the greatest form of alchemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think life is funny. I mean, I don't know. I did listen to a podcast and it was a podcaster and some kind of guru from somewhere like super famous, blah, blah,
India.
blah. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And the podcaster was like, hey man, I've noticed that you guys like tapped into transcendental whatever life or whatever. You guys laugh a lot.
You know, it's funny
And the guy
because,
was like, yeah, because life is funny, man.
yeah, I came in one day. So I go to yoga at 6 a.m. and I was smiling. I was laughing about something. I mean, this is before 6 a.m., right? So I arrived at 5:45. And someone said, man, you laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, like you're all smiles and laughing this early in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much my 7 a.m. CrossFit class appreciates
Your
how
laughter.
much I laugh.
Here comes another burpee.
Their faces are kind of like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And sleep just kind of glazed over their eyes. And I'm like, hey!
All right.
So
Back to
I'm,
subject.
yeah, back. I've gotten better about asking for help. I appreciate other people more. I recognize that other people are a lot more competent at things I don't like.
Okay.
I have a rough plan and I don't have everything figured out because I want to be surprised by life.
Yeah. I feel the same way now. I'm not planning like 30 years from now. I do have a list of places I want to visit. And that's probably as far as my longest planning will go, you know. Like, okay, I want to go back to Egypt. I want to go to Japan at one point. But like exact when I'm going to go, I don't know, but it's in there. It's in my list. Guatemala is in my list, you know. So for traveling, I do have a list and yeah, I'm open to the unknown to come surprise me. And I do ask for it. I ask the universe, surprise me. Surprise me today. Synchronicities with whatever you have for me.
So I feel like there's another aspect of asking for help, which is when you need emotional help or support, and that could be really challenging to ask for. I know when I went through my divorce, for example, that was a really interesting time for me because I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I feel like that was the first time I asked for emotional support, right?
Right.
And help in that way. And obviously from the people that love me and care about me the most. But also I started seeing a meditation practitioner, and I reached out for other services during that time as well for guidance.
Hmm.
Just stepping out of my zone of comfort because I was so lost. I mean, being the farthest from having anything figured out because I feel like I felt like I lost everything. I definitely had to make those hard decisions to let people in a way that I've never had to do before.
So when it's funny, I don't normally say, "Hey, I need somebody to talk to. Can you support me or anything?" I don't say it, but I will call or text a friend and be like, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" And that to me, that's code for
Yeah.
talking and letting it out if I need to. But lucky I have awesome friends, and we do talk.
What, me and you?
Yeah, on a daily almost.
Yeah.
Feels weird actually when we don't talk on a day.
Doesn't it? I thought that. I think it
Yeah,
happened once this weekend because I was in
it did.
Pennsylvania and I was like,
It's
this
just
is
like,
weird.
and I thought of calling you, and I'm like, no,
I
she's at
thought
the
of
act,
calling you too.
and I'm like, she's at the acting, leave her alone. And so, yeah, um, but also, I don't know. I just feel like at this moment we're connected because we also support. I mean, at least for me, like there's been a lot of support coming from you to me, and I'm very grateful.
My goodness. I didn't tell you this because we haven't talked about it, but now you're getting the fresh news in front of everyone else. So during the act training, it's typical for him to ask, I want you to think of a person that you admire, that has guided you, that is a guide that you look up to, blah blah blah. Pick one person and have that person in mind, and it was you.
Hmm.
I thought of you, and the next exercise after that was think of the values this person represents. And, I thought like truth, directness, integrity. And he's like, those are probably the values that you want to also have. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
we do come from the same tree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking, yeah. That is right.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel when I need help, I just go after it now.
Nice.
I learned that through the divorce process. I just go after. I just ask. I just call. I just text. I
I
just do it.
do. Yeah, I do call it. I mean, like, I don't necessarily say, "Hey, need this. I need to talk." I don't say it, but I do call. I do start saying, "Hey, today wasn't that day." You know how sometimes I say, like, one day I'm gonna feel this way, but today wasn't that day, and so I'm okay with it because I know that will happen. Eventually. But we all have our moments.
I do make an appointment with someone sometimes. I'll just like something feels like I'm needing some guidance or someone to
Mhm.
talk to or some to hear something other than my own voice, right? I do make appointments with people, and part of that is I like to do one-offs. So I'll
Mm.
have like I'll do a numerology reading, I'll do an astrology reading, I'll do some kind of other guidance. And I feel like part of that has to do with I'm needing a quick redirect, and that's how I work best. Other times I listen to information about the thing that I want to improve or learn more about or facilitate some development in, because I have found that learning really gets me unstuck. So all that to say is I probably wouldn't have pick a therapist, but it's because I don't want to talk.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's such a hard thing to say because it's like my field and it's what I do and yada yada. I personally can't handle the process of sitting and talking and for an extended period of time. This is not helping my case at all,
I
to
know.
put this out there. And I think part of it is just knowing what helps you as a person individually, because at the end of the day, you are a unique individual that needs specific things, right? And I
Yeah.
personally don't think therapy is for everyone, right?
But I kind of feel like everybody should have some sort of therapy, like some sort of help. Now, it could be a psychologist, it could be, I see a theta healer, and I probably see her randomly, I don't know, once every 3 months, whenever I feel like, okay, like you said, like a reset or something, or I need to really talk about something. But what I like about our sessions is that she will create a meditation for me based on what we were talking about or where I am at this moment. And so I don't do it that often because I like those meditations to be like, okay, I'm going to do it for, I don't know, a couple of months, see what happens. Yeah.
I like the irregularity of it.
Mm.
I mean,
But then I said it first.
why don't you go?
I also have my voice, and my voice sometimes is it's getting involved in a lot of stuff. And so I sometimes just ask things and I get the answer. So and it's not like I'm counseling my own self, because to me the voice is separate.
Yeah, I know.
So I go, I ask something and then I get like a response. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
I have also been going into silence and being with myself to land on something, either just the experience of being or answering a question. I've also been doing a bit more free flow writing, which is me getting all of the things out. It's like a free association. So getting out all of the things that are swimming, just to see what's happening, just to see it visually, but also to give it breath, right? To have it be a thing that's external from me. The other thing is I feel like CrossFit is my therapy and my hobby and my habit and my all the things too. Just going there
Yeah.
and moving my body and forcing myself to go into things that bring up some fear, right? I've been working on things in there that I'm afraid of, like
Right.
going upside down
Mm-hmm.
is something that I have gotten pretty good at overcoming now. I've actually stopped working on that because I've been able to just do it. So I'm working on something else now. But I do feel that physically I'm able to challenge my fears in that way, but that also translates outside of it too, which is interesting because I just started reading this book, listening to this book by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. So
Okay.
Robert Greene has made all of these amazing books that are really massive works of like a specific topic. One is war, one is power, one is seduction, and the books are really, really in depth and across time about these specific topics and patterns and how people exhibit these things and use them and weaponize them, like weaponizing seduction or weaponizing power and things like that. And they're pretty intensive, extensive books. He wrote a book on 48 laws of power. And he wrote another book that was called the 50th Law. And it was about, he created another rule of power, which is fear nothing. And a biography of 50 Cent as well. So it's a really fascinating read because he's talking about how in his life and in 50 Cent's life, he had to kind of face his fears on a perpetual basis, which led to this constant, okay, this is something I'm facing, this is something I'm facing. And then it got to a point where after he was shot those like 9 times and he lost a record deal and all this other stuff, he got to a point of, I have nothing to lose. And that's when you're really in the seat of your power. It's a really fascinating read, actually.
Cool.
And that fearing nothing, I feel like there's something about just going towards the thing you're afraid of, going towards not knowing what you're doing next, not knowing how to figure it out, going towards the asking for help, because there's something in there to kind of overcome, and the overcoming part is so transformative.
Crossing the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? Yeah.
But I'm so pumped about this book. I mean, I heard about it before because I listened to Robert Greene's another one of his interviews, and I know that he's done the book, and I just haven't gotten to it until now.
Nice. All right. I'm going to take a note on that.
Yeah, it's off to an amazing start. It's wow.
Yeah. I think, you know how I had that experience at your apartment when like the ceiling opened up and I was getting pulled? The episode was The Alchemist, if you want to hear the story. But I realized one thing. What is it that I am most afraid of? What could happen? I'm like, okay, I could die and not be able to come back to my body. And that's the fear, right? And that's why I stopped the mystical experience. So I'm like, I'm over that. I'm like, that's all right. So I'm welcoming the mystical more and just like, what is this really blocking you? And so all of those limitations, little by little, like I do ask for help in different ways, not necessarily, hey, help me, but I do ask for support and I definitely talk more. And, I used to be like, okay, I love hiking. And I used to be like, I need to hike with somebody. What if a bear comes out? What if a mountain lion or whatever? I don't care about that anymore.
Nice.
Like, you know what? It's first of all, I'm protected all the time. And that's, if it's meant to be the way I go, then that's already the way I'm going to go. So I'm not, like I'm in the firm believer that you're not going to go the day before you're supposed to. But that's just what I believe now. And so now I'm just live. Go on your hike.
That's so funny. So yesterday I was in my apartment and I thought I heard something. I thought I heard a knock, right?
Oh.
No. I thought I heard a knock on the door. And like I stopped, I froze, and I was like, well, it took me a really quite some time to unfreeze. And then I slowly walked over, without making any noise, right? And then, and then I was like, wait, if I walk to the door, will they see my feet? Well, also, who cares? But whatever. So I went to the door and I opened the little hole and I saw nothing and I saw no one and and then I thought about that. Like, but what if, blah, blah, blah. And I just knocked it down. I was just like, Stop it. Exactly. I was like, stop it.
What if Candyman? No.
Because the next thing I'll finish it. The next thing I thought of was my nieces wanting to move in with me. Right. And part of that arrangement is going to be that, I leave the door with just the lock that is the main lock that you key in to get in. Once you're inside, I put in the extra locks. right? So like the manual ones. So if she moves in, I can't use those anymore. And that's the first thought that I came up with. So and the door, I went there and there was no one there, and then I thought, oh no, what if I'm not gonna be able to use these locks? And I was like, stop it. There's already one lock. Do I need 3 locks on top of, like however many floors on top of a doorman, on top of a locked front door? I mean, come on. Let's not get ridiculous.
You gotta think of it like you think about your iPad. Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants to come in your place.
No.
Uninvited.
So, yeah, I just knocked it down.
All right.
And that is all we have for you this week.
Make sure you follow Permission to Podcast.
And we'll be back next week with your permission.